Are you looking to elevate your coaching experience and provide your clients with an exceptional journey from onboarding to transformation? Welcome to our tutorial on setting up coaching session check-in forms in Dubsado, a dynamic CRM platform specifically designed to cater to the unique needs of coaches and service-based businesses. Dubsado offers a suite of tools that streamline customer management from scheduling to invoicing, and now we're diving into how to leverage its form-building capabilities to enhance your client interactions. In this session, we'll guide you through the process of creating a form that captures valuable insights from your clients before each coaching session, ensuring you're fully prepared to meet their needs and foster their growth. These forms are essential for maximizing the effectiveness of your sessions and aligning closely with your clients' evolving journeys. If you're keen to explore Dubsado's full range of features and understand why it's a top choice for coaches, be sure to check out our comprehensive system walkthrough after this tutorial, which I've linked below in the comments. Now, are you ready to create a transformative tool for coaching practice? Let's dive in. Okay, so we are in our Dubsado demo account. We're going to head over to templates and forms, and we are going to be working on a questionnaire. And I already have started a pre-coaching session reflection form, which is the one that we're going to be working on. So I'm just going to head in there. And usually it would be pretty blank in here. I've just added a couple of things so far. But if you don't want to start from scratch every time and your forms are very similar, you can clone a previous form and then just swap out some pieces so that you don't have to recreate everything. But the first thing I did was rename the form. So make sure that you're giving it a name that you can easily recognize so you don't get mixed up. And then this was a image box that I pulled over. So I'll just do that again so you can see it. So over here on the left, we've got all the different types of boxes that we can pull over that do different things. So I'm just pulling over a text box and putting it at the top. And you've got these green lines that kind of dictate where everything goes. So you want to make sure that you are putting things in the right place. So I want this one at the top, this big long one. That's going to make sure that, oh, that was a text box I put in. I wanted an image box. Wait a sec. There we go. Images. There we are. And I'll show you the difference in a minute because this is actually in a container and those green bars are how you can tell where you're dropping things. So let's do our image first of all. So we're just going to click on the image here. It's going to open up the image library and I've got a couple of things that I've uploaded, but not too much. So I'm just going to pop this one in and as you can see, it's way too big. So I'm just going to come down here to the scale and I'm going to put 25% in and that's going to scale that back for me. You can see you've got the alignment here and you can put padding top and bottom on an image as well. You can just use this link to add your files in. It's got some information on what's a good size and then those will sit in your image library and you can reuse them. So we've got our logo in, that's the top box that we wanted. And then this second box is a container. So I started with a container. I'm just going to click on this so it opens this up. So let me show you this again. So we'll go to elements, container. I'm just going to put that in. So this narrow line is going to drop things into the existing container. So we don't want that. We want to go above that, which is that longer line if we're going above. Same for down below. If I go for this shorter line, it's going to go in the existing container. And if I go for the longer line, it's going to put a container in underneath. And basically, Dubsado has the ability to kind of stack things. So you can put things in a container just so you can keep things neat and tidy and know which sections you're working on. And the containers have some functionality too. So that's also how you would do some extra branding and stuff. And I'll show you how to do that. So what you'll notice here is the container populated and it has these 2+ signs in it. That's where we're going to put content. If I click on the container, it will open up the settings area over here on the left. And you can see that it's currently indicating 2 columns, which is why there's 2+ signs. So I'm going to change that to 1 because I just want 1 column in this one right now. And then you can see that we have some more settings here. So container width, this will change the actual size of the container, so I can make it bigger and smaller. Content width, you won't be able to see a lot with that until we actually get some content in there, but it does affect the content. You can put a background color in. So this is what I was talking about as to why you might need to use containers. Is if you want everything in, like, say, one section to be a certain color, background color, or you want to put an image behind it, you can do that here. You can also put images in, as I mentioned. You can adjust the opacity, and you can put padding and margins in. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on all those advanced settings there. We're going to do a fairly straightforward form today, but that's the container. And then we want to click on the plus sign, and you have a choice of where you do this from. So you can see here, we've got all the different options that have come up, and you also have them down the side here. So you can drag and drop, or you can just pick one of these. Now, we need to take a look more in depth at the types of questions that are in here, because they do serve different functions. So we have short answer, free response, date select, drop down, checkboxes, and multiple choice. Those are the different types of questions that we can ask. The short answer is for things like name, email, that kind of stuff that needs a fairly short answer. But you would also use it if you wanted to set up a custom field in a client's record. So let's say, for instance, you wanted to collect details on maybe emergency contact details, spouse's name, something like that, and that's a different field. The short answers and the date select are the only two fields that will automatically map over to the client's CRM record. So if you want information on a form to specifically go into their client record, you'll want to map those as either short answers or date selects. So those are a really handy tool. Now I'm going to use a free response right now because I want to ask a question that is going to require a client to have a bit of a longer answer, I would hope. So you click on the pencil here, and you can either go in here and do it, or you can come over to the sidebar and just go over the top of that. So there's my question. What goals did you set after our last meeting? How close are you to achieving them? Now, we're going to let the free response, we've set this up as a free response, so they're going to be able to answer that themselves. But we could also have said, what goals did you set after our last meeting? Have them list those out. And then we could have put in, like, kind of a sliding scale. How close are you to achieving them on a scale of 1 to 10? You just need to, it's not a true sliding scale in Dubsado, so you can do them with like a drop down or a multiple choice. You just have to make sure that you're wording the questions correctly to accommodate. So let's have a look at what that might look like. So I'm going to add in another question here, and this one will be a drop down. I'm going to put that right underneath so it's the same size. And then we'll go in here and say, how close are you to achieving your goals on a scale of 1 to 10? Now this is kind of lengthy. So then you've got these criteria here. So you can put in 1, 2, 3 and do it that way, 4, and then continue to add in new fields. Or you could do 1 to 2, 3 to 4. You can set this up however you want to with the information that you're trying to get from them. You just want to make sure you give them enough information in the question to be able to answer it. So for instance, here you might say, how close are you to achieving your goals on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being not close at all and 10 being I knocked it out of the park. And you would want to give them that information in the question. You can also do, in this kind of environment, you don't even have to do the 1 to 10. You could also do the scale of things like not good, good, average, excellent, those kind of things. So you can put in whatever answers that you want in here and have them pick from those as their answers. So that's what we've got going on there. And you can see how this is in a container and this is in a container. So I can change the background on this one and have a different background on this one. They're obviously different sizes, so we would need to play with the settings to make those match and clean them up a little bit. But that's how you would pull content into containers and into sections. Okay, so next I am going to I'm going to do another container, and I'm going to take this one outside of the original one. So I'm going to put it right there, and we're going to go one column again. And this time we are going to do a multiple choice. Okay, so they've given you some really great examples here. Are you happy and you know it? Yes or no. So same thing, you come into edit and you'll see your options here. And you can choose to format this vertically or horizontally. So this one, it's coming down the page. This one, it's going across the page. So you can put lots of different options in there. Now, it says multiple choice. It's not labeled the best because multiple choice does not give people responding the option to check more than one option. It's just giving them the choice to pick from multiple answers, I guess is the best way to explain it. If you want them to have a choice of being able to select more than one, you want the check boxes. So let's come along and put that underneath. So this one is where they can actually tick off more than one thing. So you would put all of this. You would, same thing, edit your answers, and then you can change them here. And again, you can format vertically or horizontally. And then whoever you're sending this to can tick off these as well. So that's the checkbox piece. And then we've covered free response, we've covered the short answers we've talked about. You also have things like spaces and dividers. So if you want to put a little more space between these sections, you can use the spaces, you can use the dividers to do that. You can add more images in throughout if you want to. And then you've got a file uploader. So if you want your client to be able to upload files, so if you want them to send you something back, you can add a file uploader piece in. And then lastly, we have an HTML block. So if you know how to code, you can do some things in the HTML block to make your form do different things if you're comfortable with coding. So that's all the different kinds of blocks that we can put into our coaching form. So you would use this as a coach. You can do forms for obviously a number of different reasons. This one I'm thinking is a pre-coaching session reflection form. So we're looking at, what's happened since the last section, what did you achieve? I've got challenges and obstacles. What specific actions have you taken towards your goals since our last meeting, and all of that kind of stuff. And then it's also a really great opportunity to use this form to get some feedback from your client as to how your service is going. Like you don't have to wait until the end of a contract to get information from your client as to how things are going. And in fact, it's beneficial if you ask that question on a regular basis, because if something drastic happens, you'll know kind of where the benchmark was, so that you can go back and say, well, what changed? How has this changed? So you can ask things like, is there any feedback or suggestions you have for me to better support you in our coaching sessions? Are there any particular methods or approaches you found particularly effective or that you would like to explore further? You can also take this opportunity to ask for a testimonial. So there's no harm in ever putting in, like, do you have testimonial that you'd like to allow me to share? You can put a checkbox in to ask them if they give permission, so that you can gather all of that information. So there's a number of different ways that you can make these coaching forms applicable to your business, whether you want to use it as a coaching only feedback form, like in this case, pre-coaching session, or a post-coaching session, whichever you think would be more valuable for your clients. Would you rather have them reflect after your session and kind of get an idea of what they're going to be working on over the next little while? Or do you want to look at what they've done prior to coming into the meeting and since your last session? So there's lots of different ways that you can build these forms and put them together. So next we're going to hop into the form settings, which is over here on the left. And these are some small things. So you can set an expiration date if you want to, so that the client has to fill these in by a certain time. It's only available for a certain time. It's not something that we generally use in coaching, but it might be something that you decide to use. These are usually more for things like proposals where you want them to expire after a certain date. Not so sure that we would use them on a pre-coaching session reflection, but it's there. You can also customize this alert header. So when they fill in their form and they press submit, they'll get this screen pop up that's got this thank you on it, and underneath it will say the form has been submitted. So if you wanted to give further instructions, if you wanted to let them know once it's been received, it will be reviewed, and then you'll get this email, you can explain all of that here. You can also password protect the form just to ensure that things are remaining super, super secure so that other people can't get into it. Dubsado is a really secure system, but there's always the possibility that something could happen. So there is the ability to password protect. It says here, anyone with the link can access the form directly. So that's this link up here. So unless you're giving it out to somebody else, that's the only way they would be able to access the form. But if you wanted to just mitigate the risk, you could password protect it. So that's all we've got in the settings, fairly straightforward. And then we have the form styling. So here is where you choose your fonts, your font size, your font color, and then there's some general styling here. So the top padding and bottom padding, if you want to just give a little bit of extra room at the top and bottom, you can do that. You have your submit button, which is right down the bottom. We don't see it when we're building the form, but when you go to preview it, and I can do that right now, you can actually see that you've got the send button here and there's a save draft button there. So if we go back to edit form, so that's this text here. So if I change that to submit, then when we go back into the preview, that should have changed. Yeah, it's changed there. And then if you know how to do CSS, you can also put in some custom styling by adding in CSS. So that is how we build a form, a coaching form in Dubsado, how we style it, how we set it up. You're going to want to save the form, and then you have the option to save and close or save and copy. So this is what I was saying to you at the beginning, that if you wanted to have a form that you just keep replicating all the time and just switch a few things out, so you don't have to keep doing things like putting the logo in and updating all the form styling, you can save a copy of this and then go into the copy, give it a new name, and change the bits and pieces that you want to change so that it's ready for you to use in a different capacity. But that is the basics. Dubsado is fairly intuitive when it comes to building these forms. There are some other settings that can affect your forms, but I'm not going to go into those on today's video. This was really just about showing you how to put together a simple coaching form in the Dubsado system. And then to send it out, I will just show you that because that's an important piece. So with the questionnaires, you can share the link fairly easily, but if you want them to come back in under a client's record, you want to send them out from the client's record. So if we go over to projects here, and we've got this dummy data. So in here, you're going to go up to forms. You're going to go add a form, and here you can see the pre-coaching session questionnaire. It's going to pull it up so that you can look at it. We've got some text in there that has gone in there. And then you're going to, so usually you would see the entire form. Then you're going to add this, and then you're going to hit send. If everything's like as you want it, then you are going to hit send. And this will bring up a pre-existing email. This is like a system-built email. So it's very basic. You can go in and create a different template that you can use to send out a specific form. That's a slightly different process, but this is the basics. Then you would just hit send. The client will get this email. They'll click on here and it will open that form up for them. They can fill it all out. As you saw from the preview, there is a save progress button. So if it's a big form that needs a lot of things, a lot of reflection, they can actually save their progress and come back to it later. So that's a really nice feature with the Dubsado forms. So you would just send this out, and then when they complete it and hit submit, it's going to come back in here. You're going to be able to go in to their questionnaire here. This will change from need sending to, I think, sent, and then you can download it, or you can pull it up right on your screen and you can view their answers. So however you like to take in your information, you can do it that way. So that is how you build a coaching form in Dubsado and how you send it out to your client. And if you've got any questions or there's something that is happening for you that you're not quite sure about, just let us know in the comments on this video and we'll take a look at those and do our best to maybe do another video and answer any of the questions that you're getting stuck on. Thanks for watching. And that wraps up our tutorial on how to set up coaching session check-in forms in Dubsado. Thank you for following along. With these forms, you're now equipped to gain deeper insights into your client's progress, challenges, and needs, enabling you to tailor your coaching sessions for maximum impact. If you have any questions or need further assistance, feel free to reach out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more helpful tutorials like this one. Until next time, happy coaching.